Hey guys, how's it going? This is BillyEatWorld, and today I want to talk about a couple of pretty disturbing trends that are emerging in the video game industry. Number one is that more and more big name games are getting their release dates pushed back, and number two is that when they do come out, they don't live up to expectations. Just this year, we've seen pretty much every DLC for Battlefield 4 pushed back, and Battlefield Hardline has also been pushed back into 2015. Another example is the PS4 version of PlanetSide 2, which was supposed to be out at the launch of the PS4 almost a year ago, but has still yet to be released. There's countless other examples, including games like DayZ Standalone, The Division, and The Order 1886, and these delays aren't sitting very well with the community. Now, we all know what happened to Battlefield 4 at launch. Clearly this game wasn't finished, and arguably it's only just becoming a great game now, almost a year into its lifespan. So is it a good or a bad thing that big name games like this are getting delayed? Well, obviously no one likes a broken game, so if a game needs more work, then it needs more work. But I think the problem is that publishers keep setting unrealistic release dates to begin with. In my experience, if you're going to do something well, you better get it done right, and that means allowing enough time to get the job done well. I just can't help but think though that the big publishers like EA and Activision are starting to lose sight of that philosophy, and I honestly think it's starting to piss off the average gamer. Now, the other problem that I mentioned was that more and more games are not living up to expectations. But maybe it's not the games that have the problem, maybe it's us. Or maybe it's the media and the YouTube community's fault for brainwashing us with hype. I mean, rewind 30 years and put yourself in the shoes of someone playing Mario for the first time. By today's standards, the NES had nothing on the PS4. Honestly, it has nothing on an iPhone, which is the dominant platform for casual gaming these days. Regardless, you probably would have freaking loved that game, not because of its graphics and not because it has hundreds of hours of content, but because it's generally a fun game. We're so lucky to be living in 2014 and to be able to play the games that get released now, and I think that people just don't appreciate that anymore. I think that if you could shelter yourself from the hype bubble the industry builds up around AAA titles, then you'd probably buy and enjoy just about any game that gets released these days. First impressions really matter, and when the first impression that you're getting is either someone overhyping the game or someone slamming the game even before it's released, how do you honestly expect to go in with an open mind? Now, in the background you can see some Destiny gameplay, a game which I'm enjoying but a lot of people seem to be disappointed with. Destiny is probably one of the best looking games I've ever played, and while I wouldn't say that the gameplay is exceptional, it's been pretty fun so far. Sadly, there are people that I know who are refusing to buy the game because it's been overhyped, and I guess that's up to them, but speaking as someone who owns the game, I just wish I could put the controller in their hand for a few hours and let them see what the game is actually like. Another thing that I think has really affected Destiny is the fact that we had an alpha and a beta to play before the game was released. Both of these were choppy and the gameplay was pretty rinse and repeat and lacking in just about all of the story elements. It wasn't a true representation of what the game is actually like, and that's a first impression that you can't erase. The same thing happened with Battlefield Hardline and will no doubt happen with countless other games in the future. So what can we do as a community to fix it? Well, just about the only thing that we can do is keep an open mind about upcoming games. Games are only just going to get better and better as years go by, and 90% of the time these days we're only really complaining about trivial things. Developers have to work harder than they ever have before to please us these days, and they deserve credit at the very least for having to put up with our shit. In the old days before patches and updates, we took games on face value and we enjoyed them. Obviously it's a great thing that as a community we can now influence developers to make the games we want them to make, but at some point we all need to realise that a game doesn't have to be as good as GTA 5 to be a fun game. Also, publishers have got to learn to burst the hype bubble to some degree as well, because if BF4, Destiny and Titanfall have proved anything in the last year or so, it's that it doesn't matter how big that bubble gets, you're still going to lose face if you overhype your game. Now, I could go on for hours about this topic, but I think that just about sums up my key points, so why don't you guys continue the discussion in the comments section below. If you agree with anything that I've said, make sure to smash that like button, and if not, feel free to let me know why as well. But anyway, as always, if you like what you see, please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and if you haven't already, please check out all my other Battlefield 4 videos. I've got them all linked in a playlist in the description below. But until next time, see you later, and have a good one.